Cars and lists are an endless source of fascination for car nerds. There's the list of the fastest car, or the most expensive, the rarest, or the most gay. But this car is part of a very short and rather unique list. The list of things with two Zs in their name. ZZ Top, the Dukes of Hazzard, and the Suzuki Kizashi. The brand new model is somewhat of a conundrum in a few ways. First, since Suzuki arrived in SA a few years ago, we've been used to them offering small cars like the Alto, or cars that go off-road like the Vitara, or small cars that go off-road like the Jimny. The Kizashi is none of those things. It's a medium-sized sedan taking on the likes of the VW Passat and Mazda 6. And right there is another part of the conundrum. Looking at this car, you'd think it has a bit of a performance bent, with its big integrated exhaust tailpipes and its short, aggressive rear deck. The rest of the package includes things like big wheels and a big grille that's more reminiscent of a Bentley Continental than a boring commute to the office. Conversations around the styling of this car have included comments like it has a very premium look, and more than a few people have pointed and stared in traffic. One Audi TT driver even deigned the Kizashi cool enough to roll down his window and start a conversation with me. It is a handsome beast, this, even though the look promises more than the car delivers, but we'll get to that. First, the interior. At first glance, it all looks a bit somber, but then you realize there's a kind of understated class going on in here. The design isn't too fussy, the layout is great, and the materials are all superb. And things like the leather panels in the doors tell you that this car is trying just a little bit harder than the rest. At 296,000 Rand, the Kizashi sits right in the middle of the VW Passat and the Mazda 6, but the spec level is anything but middle of the road. Electric seats share space with dual-zone climate control, iPod connection, cruise control, and a multi-function steering wheel. Headroom for the front passengers could be a concern though. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but I do have a very upright seating position, and it felt a little on the could do with more space side. This is the 2.4 four-cylinder with 131 kilowatts and 230 Newton meters. Good enough to give this car a fairly respectable 0 to 100 time of 7.8 seconds. It is the only engine choice in the range at the moment, but there are two gearbox choices, one being a 6-speed manual, the other a CVT. And you can tell which gearbox our test car has simply by the fact that I haven't killed myself yet. Yep, a good old manual with a good feel and a nice set of cogs. If you're wondering whether a diesel Kizashi is a possibility, well, all we're saying is that there is a 2-litre available in other markets. But as far as I'm concerned, it can wait, because there's nothing wrong with this engine. Once you get your head around it, you have this preconceived idea that this car has a sporty drive, but it doesn't. That's not to say it's bad, because in fact it's very good. It gives you everything you need with no fuss at all. The whole thing just feels good, from the gear shift to the steering, to the ride setup that's a good mix of comfort and grip. This is a very well-sorted machine, and one that doesn't rely on power or immense handling to make you smile. Even though it competes in a fairly bland sector of the market, the Kizashi has its own feel. But as far as feels from cars go, it is quite an odd one. This car reminds me of a dog. A nice, loyal pet that'll never let you down, that always just wants to make you happy, even though you don't always treat it as well as you should. Told you it was a strange feeling. Maybe I should rephrase it. Like even the smallest Suzukis, the Kizashi feels as though it's supremely well engineered. Every interaction is reassuring. Every minute behind the wheel will give you the sense that your money has been well spent. It's miles ahead of the soulless Passat and far better looking than anything else in its class. When Suzuki arrived in the country, their timing couldn't have been worse. The world economy had taken a dive, and local car sales were way off the 700,000 new units a year high. But despite all of that, Suzuki were one of the few manufacturers to weather the storm, and that alone should tell you that they make good product. But if you need more convincing, just spend even a little bit of time with the Kizashi. A good 4-cylinder engine delivers enough power for fair performance, while the manual gearbox adds to an overall satisfying and involving driving experience. Add good styling and Suzuki's solid and precise engineering, and you have a potent new player in the medium segment. A shortage of front headroom is our only gripe.